Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to show you an excerpt from the game Capablanca-Mitchell from 1929. So this is 2 years after Capablanca lost his world championship title to Alexander Alekhine. But he was still very much in his prime. And after 30 moves, Mitchell played the move Rook D6, and the game is equal here. Um, Black's pieces are a little bit um, discombobulated in this position, and he's very passive. You can see that White's rooks are lined up on the G file, and pretty much the only one who has the aggression in this position is White. However, it's very difficult to see how White is going to make progress. Even White's queen is well posted on a5, and given a right opportunity will love to penetrate. But again, um, Black is just holding on here in this position. So I wanted to show you this game because it's very instructive. It shows you uh, the pitfalls of being in passive positions. There's that old saying that cramped positions contain the seeds of defeat. Well, passive positions contain the seeds of defeat also, because being passive allows your opponent to basically play without a partner. In other words, he can just do whatever he wants to do to try to generate some play in the position without having to worry about you uh, springing, back with some type of counterplay. All right, so let's look. Capablanca played Bishop G4, and now with this idea of trading off the bishops and going into this heavy piece ending here. So Mitchell took, bishop takes G4, rook takes G4, and queen D7. And as you can see, Mitchell is just kind of, shuffling back and forth. H4 from Kappa, and now rook F5, and now C5. Okay, hitting the rook, rook DF6. And now Capablanca decides that he needs to create another weakness. So now his idea after this move a4 is to play the move b4 and b5 and try to create another front on the queen side. So this is where your principle of two weaknesses comes into play. Obviously, the weakness on the G file and the G pawn is not enough, as Black is able to adequately defend. So Capablanca seeks to create another weakness on the other side of the board. Queen e7, Queen b6, Rook e6. Again, Black is just holding the position, and White is probing the position. Queen a5, and now Rook h5. Here, Capablanca plays Queen to e1, Rook to f6, and now he plays his idea of b4. Queen d7, some more shuffling, Queen g3, and now you have this triple battery on the G file, still not enough. Queen e6, and now Rook b2, planning on the break. Rook h f5, Queen g2 to f7, and now b5. A takes b5, and Rook c7. King h2. Now White has achieved his break on the queen side, but it's still a long ways from winning here. But the key thing to realize is that Black is passive. So as long as the opponent is passive and not able to generate any counterplay, you can take as long as you want in the position to try to improve and keep putting pressure on the opponent until he makes a mistake. Queen f6, Queen f1, h5. Now, this move was unnecessary in the position. Why not just play a move like Queen e6, for instance? Just continue the shuffling, or even Rook h5. Just continue shuffling back and forth. Another option is Rook g7. Why change the pawn structure? But as they say, pressure burst pipes. So h5. Now you have a situation where now the g5 square is weak. But black's intention was after Rook g5 to trade off a pair of rooks and perhaps ease the situation here. So now the position has been somewhat closed on the king side, and this is what black is banking on. So he can now concentrate, just holding white back on the queen side. Queen f5 taking over the newly open diagonal, and now Capablanca plays Queen h3, offering the trade of queens. Queen takes, king takes, and now after King g7, now all of a sudden, white can generate dangerous threats in the position. Now that there's less pieces on the board, it's harder for black actually to keep his position protected. King h4, and now there's threats and some variations of just simply sacrificing this pawn in order to gain a pass pawn on the g file and pick up this pawn. King f7. B takes c6, so Capablanca resolves the tension on the queen side and now penetrates with his rook to the back rank. Rook b8. It kind of reminds me of Magnus Carlsen, how he is able to win a lot of positions that you normally would think wouldn't be won by just maintaining constant pressure on the opponent. Rook c8. And now black has no remedy for his problem. So he went in a matter of 10, 15 moves from basically holding the position to being totally busted. All right. Rook e6. And notice the theme of this is the passivity of black. Just the fact that he just never had any meaningful ideas eventually led him down the path of making destructive choices. King g8. And now you see the king is pushed back to the 8th rank. King g3. And this is all preparation for the move f5. King f8. And now here comes the lightning strike. f5. G takes f5. And now king f4. And you have the passed g pawn. Rook e7. And now it's just desperate moves. If they had computers back in the 1920s, chess engines, then we would say that was a desperate computer move, that Rook e7, because humans would just normally resign. h4, Rook h6, Rook g7, Rook takes h4, and Mitchell had enough and resigned. So that was just a quick sample of Capablanca's genius, but the main theme is in those type of position where your opponent is extremely passive but the position is equal, just keep probing the position, just keep putting pressure on the position. Okay, as long as the opponent can't generate any activity, there's no need or counter chances, there is no need to just agree to a draw. All right, many players would have agreed to a draw, figuring they couldn't make progress in their position. And yes, if you put two engines against each other, it is probably a draw. But with humans playing, that's the type of position. If you have your opponent up against the ropes like that, just keep probing and probing and probing, and eventually he might give you some counter chances.